This was super awesome. Thank you. Question: what is the electronic music to your intro?
Thanks. I wrote it, actually. It's a song called Adam Neely's Bass Lessons. So what's going on here with this opening riff? Well, it's fast and jazzy, but why exactly does it sound that way? The key here is that the riff is actually built on a series of ascending and descending perfect fourths that sort of outline D major 7, E flat major 7, B minor 7, and B flat major 7. Jazz musicians have been using this quartal harmony since the 1950s to create sort of tonal ambiguity and intervallic interest. Unlike thirds, which when you stack them, they create normal chords like C and A minor 7, what have you, perfect fourths are a little bit more ambiguous. For a great example of this, check out the voicings that Bill Evans uses on the opening chords for Miles Davis's So What.
So what?
Eddie Harris's tune, Freedom Jazz Dance, is another great example of fourths being used melodically. On a practical level, perfect fourths provide a little bit of a challenge for bass players. Since the instrument is tuned in perfect fourths, fingering perfect fourths often requires the same finger across successive strings. Rather than physically lift the finger up off the strings, like this, proper technique dictates something called a pressure roll. Flattening the finger against the string, the pressure point shifts from the tip of the finger to the pad of the finger, and vice versa depending on which direction the fourth is going. When performing something like this slowly, the string might bend a little bit, causing it to go out of tune, but when you're actually performing this at tempo, that really doesn't matter. So let's check out some of the fingerings that I used for the riff by slowing it down 4 times to 25% speed. Notice at one point I actually used my first finger 5 times in a row. It actually makes sense in this context just because of the position shifts and the pressure rolls. There are also 2 moments where I don't use pressure rolls and instead use successive fingers across 3 strings. Sometimes the complexity of the line actually might dictate this, and unfortunately you can only do this thing on fretted instruments, since fretless instruments the intonation might go completely out of whack. So what about the rest of this intro music? Well, the other defining characteristic besides that wacky intro riff is the auto-tuned vocals. I went about recording them by singing the lyrics in a really nasty nasal tone. Adam Neely's Bass Lessons. Then with a plugin, I flattened the pitch response to get that T-Pain effect. Adam Neely's Bass Lessons. Then I chopped the vocals up a little bit to more closely align the rhythm with this cool synth line that I came up with. Adam Neely's Bass Lessons. And finally, I changed the pitches around to match the chord progression and also duplicated the line to create some cool jazzy auto-tuned harmonies. Adam Neely's Bass Lessons. Adam Neely's Bass Lessons. Yes, so it sort of sounds like a jazz robot taking a fart, but it's still a really cool sound, and I really enjoy using autotune this way creatively. Autotune often gets maligned for being sort of a panacea for poor vocal performance. Stars in the sky look like home, take me home. But you can still use it very creatively and in really cool contexts that wouldn't normally be used to correct poor vocal performance, even though it was correcting poor vocal performance. Adam Neely's Bass Lessons. Anyway, this has been Adam Neely's Bass Lessons. I hope you like this. Please comment, like, and subscribe. And yeah, until next time, bass.